The 26th. Your paycheck just hit your account. You open your banking app and see that number full, whole, beautiful. You feel that brief flash of relief, almost euphoria. Finally, you can breathe. But somewhere deep in your stomach, it's already starting to churn, because you know what's coming next. A week passes, maybe two, and suddenly, emptiness again. You look at your balance and don't understand. Where did it all go? You didn't buy anything special. Just groceries, a couple Ubers, ordered sushi on Friday because you deserved it. And now you're sitting here again, counting dollars until the next paycheck. Again, that tightness in your throat. Again, that feeling that you're running in place. And the scariest part, you start thinking, maybe something's wrong with me. Maybe I just can't handle money. You're fine. But what you do in the first 48 hours after payday, that's sabotage, psychological, automatic. And today, we're breaking down why this happens and how to break out of this vicious cycle once and for all. Let's be honest. You've heard a million pieces of advice about money. Keep a budget. Start an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe you even tried. And you know what? It didn't work. Not because you're somehow wrong, but because this advice ignores the most important thing. Your brain doesn't want you to be rich. It wants you to survive. Right now. This second. When your paycheck arrives, your brain perceives this as a signal. Finally resources. Finally safety. And what does it do? It instantly starts looking for ways to release tension. Buy something pleasant. Do something that brings instant joy. Because the last 2 weeks, you've been living in stress. Restricting yourself. Denying yourself. This is called the deprivation effect. When you've gone without something for a long time, your brain compensates with binging, but not on food, on emotions, on dopamine. And so you order delivery instead of making pasta. You buy new lipstick because it's on sale. You take an Uber because I'm tired today. And each of these little things seems so tiny that you don't even consider it spending. But the math is brutal. If you spend $5 to $7 here and there daily for the first 3 days after payday, that's already $45 a week. That could be a quarter of your weekly grocery budget, disappearing not on bills, not on investments, not even on things you need. It evaporates on emotional compensation. And the scariest part, you don't even remember exactly what that money went to. Because it wasn't meant for purchases. It was therapy. Spoiler, therapy doesn't work if you're paying for it with your future. Now the million-dollar question, if your brain is sabotaging your wealth, how do you outsmart it? The answer isn't willpower. Willpower is a limited resource. By noon, you're tired. By evening, exhausted. You can't rely on daily battles with yourself. You'll lose. Always. Instead, you need a system that works even when you're not thinking about it. Here's what you do in the first 60 minutes after payday. Step 1. Divide the money. Your brain perceives the entire amount in your account as available money. But that's a lie. Half of it is already spent, on rent, on utilities, on debt, but as long as it sits in one account. So create separate accounts or envelopes, physical or virtual, doesn't matter. First thing, transfer. 50 to 60% to mandatory payments. Rent, utilities, transportation, minimum for food. 10% to untouchable savings. Even if it's $150, even if it seems like a ridiculous amount. The rest, for living. Why does this work? Because you're no longer looking at a big, beautiful number. You're looking at what's actually left. And suddenly, that $50 shopping trip doesn't seem so innocent. Step 2. Introduce the 48-hour freeze rule. The first 2 days after payday, this is the most dangerous period. Your brain is in a state of euphoria. It wants to celebrate. It wants rewards. So establish a hard rule. For 48 hours after payday, 0 impulse purchases. 0. And no just browsing? No, this is the last one. If something is truly needed, it'll still be needed in 2 days. But 90% of the time by then, the desire has already evaporated because you didn't really need it. It was a substitute for some emotion. Step 3. Make automation your friend. You know that the best decisions you make aren't at 8 p.m. when you're tired and want something for yourself. You make them when you're honestly talking to yourself. Let that be now. So set up automatic payments so you can see where the money is going. Unsubscribe from all unnecessary Spotify subscriptions, cloud storage, and so on. You need to see every dollar that should be working for your future. Step 4. Create a comfort cushion, but make it limited. The biggest mistake is completely forbidding yourself joy, because then you'll crack. Guaranteed. Instead, allocate yourself a fixed amount for pleasure, 5 to 10% of your paycheck. You can spend it on anything, without guilt, without excuses. But when it's gone, that's it. Until the next paycheck. This isn't restriction. This is freedom. Because you know, everything else is protected. Your rent is safe. Your savings are growing, and you can enjoy this amount without the panicked thought, what if I don't have enough? Here's what I want you to understand. You're not poor because you earn little. Most people who earn twice as much as you live the same way, paycheck to paycheck, because they make the same mistake. They let emotions control money at the most vulnerable moment. But you can change this. Not in a year, not when you finally find a decent job. Now, at your next paycheck. Here's your checklist for the first 60 minutes after payday. Open your banking app. Transfer money to 3 accounts: mandatory payments, savings, living. Set up automatic payments if you haven't already. Close the app and don't open it for 48 hours. Breathe out. That's it. 5 steps, 6 minutes. 1 paycheck to change a habit that's been destroying you for years. Now let's imagine what your life looks like in 6 months. You open your banking app and see, in your savings account, $900. Not because you suddenly started earning more, but because you changed one habit in one moment. And suddenly the thought of a broken down car doesn't cause panic. The thought of quitting doesn't paralyze, because you have options. This isn't wealth, this is better. This is walkaway money, money that gives you the right to say no to a toxic boss, to bad relationships, to a life where you're always on the edge. This is freedom. And it doesn't start with a big paycheck. It starts with a decision you make in the first 60 minutes. By the way, I'm Nicolina. My area of interest is financial psychology. I'm searching for the answer to the main question. What exactly in our thinking becomes either a springboard to wealth or an invisible cage that keeps us from reaching a new level for years? So next payday, do this. Divide the money before your brain manages to claim it, and watch how everything changes. You can change your future. You've just never played by rules that work for you.